So, what's the legacy of Sheikh Hasina, a daughter of the father of nation of Bangladesh, Bangabandhu, the person who had lived his entire life for the for making Bangladesh a reality, the person who saved the Bengali culture, Bengali language, Bengali identity in the eastern part of India. Uh, a person who was more popular in Pakistan than anybody else when he fought the election, at least electorally. The person who was discriminated by the Pakistan, by the West Pakistan, because of his language identity, and since he was not from Punjab province of Pakistan, which is the traditional power, the power kingdom of Pakistan. Imagine a daughter who has seen from afar getting his entire family butchered, massacred. Uh, when she was just 28. Uh, Imagine how much fear she might have been in her thoughts, that if she would come back to Bangladesh, she would meet the same fate as her father and her family members. Think of a lady who is so emotionally connected to her father that she came back, although she had no intention of joining politics. She had came back to Bangladesh in 1981, and continued to serve Bangladesh since 1981 till 2024, which is a humongous almost 42 years, which is phenomenal. A serving, a 5 times prime minister, the longest serving prime minister, the prime minister who has seen Bangladesh at a crossroad after independence, after lots of uncertainty. The lady who had got the stability to the government, which is so much important for the progress of any nation, the stability of the government. Uh, she had to her credit, she had brought Bangladesh from the underdeveloped nation to developing nation. Bangladesh was one of the highest growing economy in the South Asia. Uh, the per capita income of Bangladesh is higher than India, Pakistan, Nepal, and other counterparts of South Asia. Uh, she had uplifted 25 million people away from the poverty, and she had put Bangladesh into the path of progress. The export, she had done an agreement with the European nation, where the duty free export of ready-made garments to European countries, uh, is a reality. In I believe in next in financial 2025, till that time there's a export duty free, import duty free for all the Bangladeshi ready-made garments in European nation, which is no small feat. She has revived. She has actually worked on her strength, which is the weaving, the clothing industry. She think of a lady who had not surrendered to the not surrender to the nation, uh, which traditionally is, I mean, not nation as such, but the but Islamist country. She, I believe, is one of the few uh, women politician across the Islamic world who is a woman actually. Uh, and of course Begum Khalida Zia is also a women prime minister, so that's a phenomenal actually. uh, so these are some of the her economy, the Bangladesh economy GDP is around 450 460 billion dollars right now, and out of that almost 50 to 55 billion dollars is through export, and primarily that is the ready-made garments. She had, there are certain things which you cannot take away from her. But then she had some controversy also. The way she had handled uh, the protest is something which is which is very unfortunate, which is very very wrong actually. She has uh, she had had an emotional connect with her father, which is absolutely fine. But the political reality, she had refused to see the political realities, and to be honest, to be fair to her, uh, any growing nation with so much population, so much young population, and which is poor, is not an easy state to govern. It is not an easy state, and I can challenge even the new government, whosoever makes the government, he would have a very very difficult time to run the government, not because of anything else, just because of the sheer population, limited resources, and growing ambitious youngsters who are out of the colleges and looking for a job. So it's not an easy thing for any nation. Trust me, I am in India and I can see that, and I can tell you that very honestly. And but again, that doesn't mean that she can be high-handed towards the protesters, and that to the students. So I believe, she had some political naive that she had taken some political naive decisions, so much, because the word dictator had never been attached to her before this protest. So I believe that is something which she had to mull over, uh, and that's what her legacy is. There are some very good point to her credit, but then in democracy there is absolutely no place for any high-handedness. And the way the moment you discredit your own institutions, you start breeding up bureaucrats who are of your favor. Sooner or later, it may happen in generally in 3-4 decades. It starts showing their own, starting the bad side of that. So that is a problem, and it's very important to have a very good political acumen, which I feel it was missing towards her this last years of her career. Now, what about if the protest would have been stopped after Supreme Court's judgment, if the protest would have started after her resignation, if the protest would have stopped after her fleeing away from country, and the country was turning into normalcy, then there was no reason for anybody to think about something more than what it meets to our eyes. The protest has not happened for the first time. The protest for the quota has not happened for the first time. The protest for the quota by the student has not happened for the first time. And when it happened last time, it was all done, said and done, once she had accepted the demands of the student. But this time the things are different, and that is where it does it brings to us, it has actually forced us to think in some other way as well. uh, Now, what's the role of Pakistan here? Of course, there is one thing that is there are a couple of things which are very true of Pakistan, which I'm sure people would know. First and foremost thing is, uh, uh, Pakistan has been a very authoritative regime right from their independence. So that's something which is a reality. It is also a reality that the foreign policy of Pakistan is shaped by the ISI, which is unfortunate, but that's a reality. Imagine a country which lost a war in 1971, uh, and they had got no support from United Nations Security Council. Uh, Imagine the Prime Minister Julfikar Ali Bhutto's situation when he was unceremoniously he left the UN Security Council meeting after tearing of the papers. He had to face the nation after the defeat from the hand of their arch rival India. Uh, where in 1971 war, 90,000 prisoners of war of Pakistan was released by India. They have surrendered to India, and India had released them as per Geneva Convention. Uh, there's a huge embarrassment, frustration, and a sense of defeat, in the political establishment of Pakistan, and in general, in the entire nation. It is said that generally there are few things on which the entire nation is unanimous. One thing is of course the their rivalry with India. That's one which is no secret. The other thing is Pakistan also has a rivalry with Bangladesh, and the wounds of 1971, breaking of Pakistan into two was something which they had never forget, irrespective of the political regime who was in the power in Pakistan. They have never been they have never forgotten that. And imagine one thing that even in 1970 election, when Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was undisputed leader, and Bangladesh, and he had already declared Bangladesh as the East Pakistan as a new nation, as a new country, as a new country with the name Bangladesh. Before 1971 war, even at that point in time, he won around 50% of the popular vote. This means that although he secured almost 99% of the seats, I mean, more than 160 seats out of 168 or 62. So he barely lost 5 6 7 5 6 seats out of uh, and but in terms of the popular vote, he had received around 50% of the vote. That means that still 50% of the population of Bangladesh, even at that point, even at the height of Bangladesh nationalism, was not with Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, or not with the idea of Bangladesh, as a nation. Uh, uh, if you think of Bangladesh, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman is the tallest leader. What comes to our mind, and to majority of the people outside Bangladesh, and I'm sure in Bangladesh as well. So even in front of that kind of a person, still there are 50% of the people who were not liking him, or who were maybe they may be for Pakistan also, for the West Pakistan also. So it means that there's a huge sizable chunk of population who was with Pakistan, and these people were there as a, they were in a dormant state in Bangladesh. And they tried their best to to destabilize the government. That's why there are lots of military coup happened, and there are lots of instability. And the first free and fair election happened only in 1991. That is 2 decades after Bangladesh became independent. So it is logical logical to think that Pakistan had a presence in Bangladesh as well, in some way or the other. And of course they would never want Bangladesh to be partition from Pakistan, not because they love East Pakistan as much as they do the other province, but the fact is that it becomes very shameful for any nation if it is broken into two, and not by an organic way, but an inorganic way where there's a war and then they had to lose that war. So from Pakistan's point of view, they were you know and they're harboring this thought on their mind, and they're waiting for the time when they could destabilize Bangladesh. So when 2020, when after the Supreme Court's demand, Supreme Court had rolled back the quota system, and the protest did not stop. We are forced to think that there is more than what comes out of the media, and it is more than what it seems to us right now. Even right now, in there are reports that after Sheikh Hasina had fled the country, the parliament was ransacked. It's like a similar scene what you saw in Sri Lanka, where the protesters stormed into parliament. Uh, Even after she had fled the country, still lots of people are being targeted. Her entire party is being targeted. Hindus are being targeted in Bangladesh, which is very unfortunate. In fact, when Bangladesh got freedom, at that point in time, the population of Hindus were around 30% of the Bangladesh population, but right now it is around 7 to 8%. So either the Hindus have been butchered, or they have been converted to Islam or some other religion. So that's a reality. And even now we have seen that in the shows, in the social media also, the Hindu girls photos were being shared and kind of instigated to attack them. I'm sure, I just hope that it doesn't happen, but I'm sure there could be some bad thing which might be happening to the girls as well. The temples are being burned, Hindus localities are being targeted, and that is something which is very unfair, unfortunate as well. And Majority of these Hindus are supposed to be the supporters of Awami League, or supporters of Sheikh Hasina, and they have been targeted. And it is not only about Hindus, even the lots of celebrities in Bangladesh, they are also been targeted. Some great director who is also an actor, he has been targeted. Singers are being targeted. So. And one noticeable thing is that when the students protests were happening, that time you can see a lot of girls, the students, the girl students, female students, out in the streets protesting against the government, and that looked like a very believable student protest. But if you look after 5th of August or 4th of August, I would say that the girls are simply not there. It is majority of the people, it's majority of the male students or somebody else. I don't know, but certainly they are not only the students, they are someone else as well, and they are ransacking the entire, they are taking the entire country into some kind of turmoil. Even they are not listening to the army chief, and although he had actually brought the entire brought made the made brought the entire party, the political parties, sit and created an interim government where the students demand of appointing Muhammad Yunus as chief advisor is also been met. So, but despite that, the violence is not stopping, and it means that there is something else. There is a problem. There is definitely a plan to destabilize that country. Uh, and I'm sure any country, if any people of and any citizen of a country, they do want to destabilize the government of the day. They do not want to destabilize the whole country. So it should be either political party backed protest, which is to throw this party and bring some other party back into the power. Till that time, it is okay to do a protest where you have an alternative and all. But right now, it seems that even the BNP is not a alternative for them. Uh, there is still the problem in terms of what do actually they want, and it seems to me as of now that the protesters right now, they want to destabilize the country for some nefarious reason, and that brings to us that actually forces us to think that Pakistan is having a grudge against Bangladesh, and they want to kind of destabilize that nation so that they can avenge their defeat of 1971. So that's one reason. And it is said that there's a Jamaat Islami group of Bangladesh, which is always pro Pakistan, and they want to take a control from the backside. They do not have lot of people, they do not have lots of political power, but they have enough power, enough people to kind of bring a chaos in a country. So that's something which is there. And since Pakistan is there, so let's think about the other actor, which is China, which is USA. Now, it is no secret that in 1971, when there was a Cold War, that point in time, USA was aligned to Pakistan, and India was closer to USSR. So America never wanted India to have a say, and India, with the sheer size of its geography and population, um, and the majority of Hindu population, America was simply not able to fathom that such a big nation becomes a part of USSR, or is in the lobby of USSR. So that was something which was hurting American interest, and that's why in 1971, so to counter India's growing closeness to USSR, the USA started supporting Pakistan. It's not that India was not having any relation with USA, but even that point in time when Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, she had gone to USA for to seek their support in in providing Indians wheat, a good quality wheat. But what America did, they had supplied wheat to us, a substandard wheat to us at a very premium price. So you can imagine that America was not having a very good relation equation with India. Uh, at that point in time, in 1971, when the war was going on, America had said to India that stop the war, and they said that you have to face the repercussion and all. But then USSR had backed India, and in 1971, when the war was going on, the USA had sent their seventh fleet of USA Navy to say that to attack India in case India attacks Pakistan. But then USSR said to immediate sent a warning to USA saying that in case you will attack India, I'm coming with my own forces and will attack you. So America had to back down, and they had to remain a spectator, providing a tacit support, a logistical support and operation support to Pakistan to fight the war. But then eventually India won, and that becomes a point for America as well to think that uh, that India is not is a rogue nation from their own perspective, or in not if not rogue nation, that India is not fitting to their scheme of things, and India is a thorn in their global in their quest to become global power. So that's the entry of USA in this zone in the South Asia. And it is no secret that USA provides a lot of support to Pakistan. That's 100% sure. Lots of evidence is there. US provide military aid to Pakistan. They provide grants to Pakistan. So Pakistan definitely has a big closeness with a very closeness to Americans in that sense. The problem happened from the Americans' perspective was, since China has become a big power, it becomes very difficult for Americans to kind of not having a nearby strategic piece of land where they could where they can triangulate China, where they can attack China, or at least pressurize China, because America is so far, and they do not have any presence in Indian Ocean or Bay of Bengal, and and Bangladesh was one strategic a piece of land which they felt that could have been an ideal situation for them to keep a check on China. Since they have also wanted India to become a part of that of their strategic alliance, India is a part of their strategic alliance, so Quad and all. But India had never given any kind of their territory to Bangladesh, to USA, for any other nations, for to work against any other nation. So that's something which is sovereignty of India, and we had never compromised on that. And same sovereignty was also not compromised by by Sheikh Hasina, because in one of the meetings, Donald Lu, who is a foreign service officer of South Asia and Middle and Central Asia, I believe as well. Uh, he had a meeting with the Sheikh Hasina, and where he had demanded Saint Martin's Island, and Martin's Island is a small, around 4 square kilometer area in the Bay of Bengal towards the southern part of Bangladesh. But then Sheikh Hasina did not accept the American demand. uh, America also did not. America also wanted some sort of a of control in the government of Bangladesh, which again Sheikh Hasina was not very happy about it. In fact, Sheikh Hasina had given two very strong and big statement, which has actually terrified Indian establishment a lot. First thing is that she said that the USA wanted Saint Martin's Island. They want to interfere the government of Bangladesh, which is against my sovereignty. So that was the first thing. The second thing was, uh, that she said that US want to have want to create a Christian nation by from Myanmar to Bangladesh, and and also some part of northeast of India, and create a separate nation out of that. I believe that was something which has which is a far-fetching effect, and the government of India never liked this kind of Americans' aggression at their backyard. So that's the entry of America. America wanted to check China, and they wanted to use Bangladesh, which Bangladesh has refused. And it is also said that uh, s- America supports Pakistan, who helped in who destabilizes destabilizes Bangladesh. At plus at the same time, America had a direct interference on in Bangladesh, uh, uh, and they had actually had played a vital role in organizing these protests as well. The protest was organic. The American establishment, the Pakistani establishment, they were waiting for the right moment, and the student protest had given them a right moment to fulfill their agenda. And so far, they have been successful. By the way, uh, now what about China? China, imagine the situation of Bangladesh, where on the west side of Bangladesh is a superpower, on the east side of the Bangladesh is a superpower. Two powerful nations on both the side of Bangladesh, and Bangladesh is having very strategic gold mine location for them. And the good part was that Sheikh Hasina was able to have a very balanced relation with both China and India, and some and but what happened that since India and China, they are not having a good term, so it was very difficult for any nation who is in between, who is in the middle of these two powerful nations, to have a very balanced relation. And she had given some concessions to China, some concessions to India. So she was trying to have some kind of balancing act, but again China was not very happy about it when she said that she would not build some she had taken some project from China, and said that we'll build this project with the help of Japan. So that has actually created some kind of a stir again, some kind of a resentment in the Chinese establishment. So that's something which is about China. Right now, it is not clear, because when Sheikh Hasina won the election, the recent election, China congratulated Sheikh Hasina. She had also had gone for a state visit, 4-day visit, very recent in the month of in the first or second week of July. So she was having a good relation with China, I'm sure, and she was having a balancing act with India also. That was also, that's how it should be actually in the foreign policy thing. Uh, but then USA, being USA, is not, they want their say either by hook or by crook. So this time they had actually waited for the right moment, and they had a strike. They struck Bangladesh, at right point in time when the Bangladesh was very fragile emotionally and politically. So that's about China. That's about Pakistan and USA. Now, what about India? See, India right now is evaluating things. Sheikh Hasina had a very good relation with Indian National Congress, who is the currently opposition party of India, because Mrs. Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India when 1971 war happened, and in fact Sheikh Hasina was here in India. After she returned from Germany, she did not go to Bangladesh. She was here in India for 6 or 7 years in India, and Pranab Mukherjee, who was the finance minister at that point in time, he had given her own home to stay. So she had a very good emotional relation with India. In fact, India had always given, India had always had a very good relation with Bangladesh right from 1971. Irrespective of the Prime Minister, both Sheikh Hasina had a very good relation with India. Begum Khalida Zia had a very good relation with India. Although there were some skirmishes, some low points which had happened as well. When there was a time when Bangladeshi, they had actually a security personnel, they had killed few border security force of India, and they had actually and send them back to India, which was a very low point. But then, I believe both nations had worked on this, and they had been able to, uh, solve that thing. The problem. Even in 1971, the Indian didn't want to kind of get into the internal matters of Pakistan. But what happened at that point in time was a lot of people who were being persecuted by the Pakistani army, they are fleeing to India. The border of India and Bangladesh is around 4,000 kilometers long, and this is not a land border. It is a land border. It's a mountain border. It's a water body border as well. So it's very difficult to fence the whole border. It is practically impossible, and lots of people were migrating from Bangladesh to India. India was not a very resource rich country at that point in time, so that they could feed millions of Bangladeshi, and that's what one of the biggest problem for India that they had to solve. They had to solve this crisis so that it doesn't come to India. And Even after that, the border, the immigration or I would say migration from Bangladesh, illegal migration from Bangladesh, is a natural phenomena. Since my childhood, I have been hearing that lots of people from Bangladesh, they keep infiltrating to India for some reason or the other, and then they never go back. In fact, one of the border state of India, West Bengal, it is said that uh, you know there are at least 30 to 40 million Bangladeshis who have come to India illegally, and they are settled there. And not only in West Bengal, you can find Bangladeshis people all over India, in all of the states of India. So this has been a phenomenon which is happening, although on in recent time this has reduced to certain extent, because the fencing has been done, and so the thing is that is a good relation with Bangladesh and India supply them the cotton, and these cotton Bangladesh then make garment, and then they export that. So in a way, India was also help. So it was a win-win relation with both India and Bangladesh. That was a very good thing. Um but the recent thing has actually put Indian establishment and people had given a lot of headaches to the people all over India, because suddenly imagine a country which was all silent, all doing good. We are listening good news about Bangladesh, about the economy, about the GDP per capita income, everything, and they were like one bright spot in South Asia. And suddenly, within few months, the whole nation had been in turmoil. The whole nation is destabilized. How is it possible that Indians are not able to understand that well? So, what are we thinking right now? The biggest problem that we are thinking is about infiltration. We are actually we are worried about two things. One thing is the security of Hindus in Bangladesh. That is one of the biggest worry for Indian government and Indian people. The places of worships, the temples are being burned, people are being targeted because of Hindus. So there's a danger of ethnic cleansing in Bangladesh, which is one of the biggest nightmare for India. And the second thing is illegal migration, which may happen because of the fragile and situation in Bangladesh. That's the second worry for India. And third worry, which is see, India is a very big country with lots of diversity, and any growing economy will have always a lot of people who are who are not happy with the government. So is this the route that they want to take to destabilize any country? That is another worry among the Indians, and I'm sure that a lot of sane minds are actually keeping up are mulling over about this thought that can this happen to India? Okay, because Bangladesh was having all good news, there's hardly any problem, and suddenly everything went bad. All the economy had no value. All the per capita income, export income, growing stature, becoming from underdeveloped economy to a developing nation, is of no consequence if the nation is not stabilized. And that is why I believe the Indians have stopped and started thinking about this, that is the economic consideration the only thing that keeps a nation flourishing? And uh, and that's something which is a $1 million question. uh, Indians, we do not have any problem in terms of, I believe whatever the government, whoso is the government in Bangladesh, there's no problem with the Indian government, because we know how to handle the government. We have very strong foreign policy, which is based on, we do not interfere in anybody affairs until unless it is certain that our interference is a must to protect our own nation, not to increase our supremacy or something like that, but to protect our own nation. That's the first thing, and that's the foreign policy. Has We have been adopting this foreign policy since 1947. So India never pokes nose in anybody's internal affair. That's why even when India in Taliban, which is one of the most extremist organization, which people have, which you can think of as an Indian, but still Indian government has got a very good relation with Taliban, because that nation has chosen Taliban to become their ruler. So India would definitely want to have a peace, a good relation with Afghanistan. That's all it is. That's how it goes for Indian establishment and for Indian foreign policy. So irrespective of the government of Bangladesh, whether they are from Awami League, whether they are from BNP, whether they are from Muhammad Yunus, or anybody else for that matter, India has no reason to worry. India has actually, India will do something good to ensure that there is a political cooperation between the two nations. At least India will extend their hand. India did extend hand to Pakistan also when India when Narendra Modi became the Prime Minister of India. He had actually visited Pakistan's Prime Minister's daughter, uh, which was a very diplomatic move to ensure that there's a good relation, there's a good good sense, good sentiments between the nations. But then that didn't pay us well, so then we stopped having any kind of communication. So what we do, we normally, if we do not have, if we know that there's some rogue nation, if there's some problematic nation for us, then what we do, we just become vigilant. We just keep our borders tight. We ensure that there's no infiltration. We ensure that there is a there's a ceasefire, and our borders are secured, and they're not meddling with the Indian internal affairs. That's what we do. But that's the policy that we have with China. That's what the policy that we have with Pakistan. So our foreign policy is very clear, very robust in that sense, and we do not need to have any kind of worry for from Bangladesh. Both. I mean, it doesn't. India is too big a nation to think like that. India is the only country in the world which has never tried to occupy any other country. So in that sense, we are very clear. The only thing which is worrying us is, like I said, two things: whether there will be an illegal migration to India, because that will be a problematic thing for India, and second thing is the persecution of Hindus in Bangladesh. I believe India is the only India and Nepal are the only two nations in across the world of 192 nations where there is a population of Hindus. So we have to worry about Hindus, and of course the whole Bangladesh people, but primarily Hindus, because they have no shelters. They have no they could be having an ethnic cleansing looming over their head. So that's a big problem. But in terms of another thing, I believe, in fact, there's a good thing. Lots of industries which are operating in Bangladesh in ready-made garments, they could come back to India. So in that sense, we should be happy about that. But that's not something which we are sharing about. We do not want to find any kind of opportunity in troubled waters. We don't fish in troubled waters. So that's something which is and that too when we have a very friendly nation like Bangladesh. Although I've seen that people from Bangladesh, they there are some photo ops where they have said that okay, we are protecting temples, we are protecting Hindus, but but then there are so lots of other visuals where they simply posed for the posed in front of the camera and then simply went away. So we are not sure, we are not very we are very cautious. We are 100% sure that the people, the minorities in Bangladesh, they're not safe, and that's a cause of worry for us. Not any other thing, not military. I don't think the military uh, Bangladesh thinking about having any kind of military skirmishes with India. I don't think they are thinking on that direction. Uh, and in fact, lots of Bangladesh people from Bangladesh, top-notch people across the political spectrum, they are having a lot of properties in Kolkata in India. So they are having Indian bank India. There is not only a political ties between the two countries. There's a people to people relation as well between Bangladesh and India, and I've never seen any kind of problem with the Bangladesh from a very people to people level. Uh, all in cricket, but that's a part of the game that happens. That I don't think there's a problem with that as well. They do something, then they get response from the sports only. So that's something which is about the sports, and I'm sure that people out there, they enjoy meeting Indians, and Indians also enjoy meeting Bangladeshis. So that's not a problem in terms of people to people relation. The problem is with the fundamentalist extremist people. They gain power. That's one thing. And second thing, Bangladesh, the other thing which could be a worry for India is Bangladesh should not become a theater for international actors to destabilize this part of region for their own gains. USA should not think of doing that. China should not think of doing that. Pakistan should not think of doing that. I guess this is a problem for us if that is happening, because it is not only about the internal politics of Bangladesh. The politics of Bangladesh is no more an internal politics, and it is no more a student protest. Actually, it is something else. It is something beyond that. Beyond that, and I'm sure that people they have seen this kind of thing before also. uh, so they should be able to kind of come back strongly and find a government. Lots of question people ask is in terms of why should India support Sheikh Hasina. Like I said, India should support Sheikh Hasina because there is a kind of a family relation with India. When her father was killed, she was here. She spent her 7 years in India, and even though whenever she comes to India, she not only meets our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, but she also meets our leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi and Gandhi families. So there is no problem in that sense. In that sense that we should not be. It's what minimum is what that India could not save Sheikh Mujibur Rahman when he was massacred. If India were having an information or any kind of intelligence, India would have definitely tried to save Sheikh Mujibur Rahman as well. But at least India could save her daughter. Uh, so that's thing. Despite knowing the fact that Sheikh Hasina is not going to go back to Bangladesh. She's done with Bangladesh politically, and she's not going to go back and fight election. I don't think her son is also considering to go back and fight election. So for them, for India, if you look from an Indian perspective, from a purely rational perspective, Sheikh Hasina is of no consequence to us. She is of no use to us in that sense. She is not going to become Prime Minister again of Bangladesh. But we are still saving her, we are still supporting her, we are still standing with her as an individual because she has got traditional ties with India, family relation with India. And we also want to inform and showcase to the world that in case if you're friend with India, India will remain is standing with you like a rock all the time in your in your testing times. And that's what is India right now is showing. And India is having very keen eye on Americans, any kind of mischievous acts here from Pakistan. Of course, Pakistan has after a long time, Pakistan has tasted some kind of victory. Uh, you know against India indirectly, but that's something which they can cheer about. That's how the situation right now is. If you look at our Indian media, there's full of discussion about Bangladesh, and excuse me, some political parties in India, they're also trying to fish, trying to think that this kind of protest can happen to India also. But trust me, that is not going to happen because India is too big a nation, and I believe the way Indian political maturity and the democracy has evolved in India, I believe has never seen any military ruling ever so far after independence, right? So India has a very strong, matured democracy with strong institutions. We have our own checks and balances. We have our own way of purification, purifying the country, purifying the political system. There's a committed bureaucracy who are independent. There's a committed there's no committed judiciary. There's no committed bureaucracy. The election commission is all free and fair and independent. So India has got strong institutions. The army is not is completely away from the politics. The police are completely away, police may be influenced by the politics, but army is certainly not part of the politics. And we ensure that army do the job what they're supposed to do, and political system do the job what they're supposed to do. And of course, India is a very big country, very diverse nation. People would want to have some kind of fault lines, and there are fault lines for sure, but that fault lines are not going to have any kind of they'll not take any kind of political cues out of the textbook of Bangladesh protest and try to implement here, because that's not going to happen. That's too difficult to happen. Some even the recent protest by the farmers, the so-called farmers from only a small rich farmers who protested, you know even they that was only, I believe, only 15 to 20% of the entire farmers. So although the government has shown a lot of political maturity to take the farm laws back, so that the country can, so that they can soothe in the nerves of agitating farmers from Punjab and Haryana. Apart from that, I don't think India has seen any kind of, even if you look at the two big revolts that has happened in India. One is against Mrs. Indira Gandhi in 1975, when entire country wanted Indira Gandhi. When the country was fed up with Indira Gandhi's corruption and authoritarianism, even that point in time, military was away. There was a political march, political protest which had happened. There was no ransacking. There was no targeting to minorities. It was only political mass protest against Indira Gandhi. Recent, when the Anna Hazare Andolan happened in 2011 against corruption once again, that time also there was no political, there was no army involvement, there was no police involvement. It was a pure organic protest from the people of India against the establishment. There was hardly any looting. There was no problem with the government. There was no targeted killing. So I believe that that's the mature democracy that shows. And trust me, running country like India is extremely difficult. The most difficult job of the world is to become Prime Minister of India, where there's a huge population, young population, growing population, uh, educated population, and less opportunities, lots of fault lines, lots of diversity, lots of regional imbalances. But still, running this country is no easy task. So I believe the Prime Minister of India could be a Prime Minister of the world, to be honest. It is it's very easy to run any European nation, and any US, for example. It's very easy to run because the people are educated, civilized. There's a less diversity in that sense. I'm talking about in comparison to India, or for that matter any South American, or any nation of the world. So India has definitely has a Indian Prime Minister has got to be very strong, politically very mature, believe in the institutions of democracy. So I don't think India needs to fear from Bangladesh episode. The only thing that we need to do is, since Bangladesh is our nation, we have to learn the lessons from them, and it is a kind of a warning bell for the government, not only for the central government but also for the state government to increase the pace of economic activity, so that the fruits of economic benefits reaches to these people who are youngsters, who are passing out of the colleges, and they want to do something good in their life, and be a part of India's progress. So I believe that that's what is my analysis. uh, I don't think, even slowly also, I believe once the stability is once the dust is is settled down in Bangladesh, I believe people would reflect that something had happened bad during this course of protest, and they would take some kind of corrective actions as well. That's my hope. Traditionally, army is also, a lot of armed forces in Bangladesh, they are trained in India. They are trained in India. So we are having very good army relation as well with Bangladesh. So I'm sure, and there's a people to people relation. There's a government to government relation. I believe it is India is fine with that, with anything which is happening in Bangladesh. India needs not to worry. India is not worrying, by the way. India is just keeping a caution, and that's how it should be. That's what the reality is. But the influence of the two actors and three actors, China, Pakistan, and USA, is little bit concerning to us, because they are rich nations, they are rogue nations. One is at least rogue nation, two is at least rogue nation, and they are very having a lot of military. So I mean, that becomes kind of a challenge for India, for this region. And India, when India is only aim is to make the country developed nation by 2047, these kind of issues are definitely a point of worrying for the establishment and for the Indians as well. So that's what I feel. That's what the people should know about the whole Bangladesh, and what India thinks. And what I'm saying right now is a kind of a mix of, is a kind of a summation of what Indian population, Indian establishment is generally thinking. That what I believe is a fair assessment. I do not have any yardstick to measure that, but broadly I feel that's what the uh, establishment, the people are thinking right now. uh, yeah, so just this is what I feel. And do let me if you have any comments, suggestions, or feedback, and what do you think about this whole Bangladesh episode. I would love to hear from you.